Hey there, this is Code Optimal. Today we'll be building a mobile responsive landing page. We'll start off by building the header component that has a different layout depending on the display. We'll use Tailwind CSS breakpoints to accomplish this. We'll then build the hero and customer sections. They will be fully mobile responsive using grid layout. Finally, we'll build our pricing section. We'll learn how to build custom card components using a variety of layouts. Let's jump into VS Code to start coding. Now let's go to the Shadcn UI documentation to instantiate the project. Let's go to Docs, Installation, and Next.js, and we're going to follow this guide. So let's copy this, paste that in here, and we're going to use the default settings. And this should take a second. Now let's cd into our app and continue this guide. So let's run this command. This will install Shadcn UI. And we're going to use New York theme and also neutral. And just say yes for that. And now let's add in the Shadcn UI components. So we're going to copy this line and then remove the button so we can get all the components. So select A, which will select all components, and then hit enter. And this should take a minute. Now that that's finished, let's run the project. So npm run dev. And let's go to localhost 3000. And let's see if this works. So sweet, you can see it's loaded. And now let's see if we can run the Shadcn UI components in it. So let's delete all this. And let's just put a button component for now. And cool, we got our project all set up, so we're ready to start coding. We're going to start off by defining the structure of the project. So let's put a class name in here. And then it's going to be flex call. And we're going to do a background gradient. And we want to do from stone 100 to blue 200. And we can't see that yet, but it'll work. Now let's build the header component. So we're going to go over to components and we're going to create a new one. And we're going to call it header.tsx. And we're going to be RAFCE to build it. So let's start off by putting a nav component here. And then we're going to style it. So we want it to be height 12, width full, and we want it to be flex, and we want to justify the items between. And we also want the item centered. And let's add a padding of 2. And let's put the first section of the header component. So we're going to style this with class name, and we're going to do padding X of 6. And we're going to do the font bold, and then the font mono. And then text of 3XL to make it large. And this is going to be our title, and we're going to call it Ordana. And then here's the second section. So we're going to do class name. It's going to be hidden. And then on medium, it's going to show. So we're going to do hit medium flex and gap 2. And let's put buttons for all of the items. And we're going to import it from Shadcn UI. So if we go to .ui/button, it's the one up here that's highlighted. Yeah, this one. So now let's define the variant. So this is going to be Ghost, and we're going to call it Customers. And let's make another button now. And I have the autocomplete here, so I'll tab over. I'll change the name in a second. And I'll do the same for this one. And this is going to be FAQs. And let's add another one. And this one's going to be pricing. And let's add another one. And this variant is going to be login, so it's going to be the same. And we're going to switch this one up. So this is going to be the sign up, and we're just going to use the default. So let's put that in here and see how it looks. Cool, so we can see the gradient as well as all of our buttons. And now let's go back to the header and finish up the rest of it. So this is just going to be on the mobile view. So it's going to be hidden at medium. And it's just going to have the login and sign up here. And we're going to use secondary instead. I'll copy that down. Cool. Oh, that didn't work. You can see it's not showing up there, but oh yeah, we just have to move that back. So medium hidden. Now it should work. There we go. So the header's done. Now let's jump back into VS Code and work on the hero component. So I'm going to go to Components, and then make a new file, and we're going to call this hero.tsx. And let's start off by styling this. So we're going to use grid layout for this, and we're going to have one grid column. And on medium, we're going to have two grid columns. So on mobile, it'll just be one, and then medium screen, it'll be two. Now let's define the class name for our first component. And this is going to span one of the grid columns. And we want it to be centered in this div. And also have the height to be 500. And then we're going to have our title here of our hero section, and the text is going to be centered, and we also want the text to be large, so 5XL, and the font to be semi-bold, and we're going to have a font of mono, and then the color of the text will be slate 700, actually 800, and then here's our header title, or hero title, and we'll call it the minimalist mobile ordering system for restaurants. And let's put that in here to see how it's showing up. Cool, so we got the title of the hero. And now let's work on adding the picture. So for this, we're also going to center it, which place item center. And we're going to use next image to show a picture. And why isn't this working? There we go. And the source for the image, I've downloaded something from a stock footage website. You can do the same. And I just paste it into this public folder. So mine's called restaurant.jpg. And then I have to import that image in. So import restaurant from public restaurant JPEG. So now let's add in some alt text. So we're gonna call this restaurant. And we have to set the width, and we'll set that to 500. And we also set the height to 500. And then let's define the class name, and it's going to be object contain, then rounded large. So let's see. Okay, then we have the hero section done. So let's jump back into VS Code and then work on the customers component. So go new file, and it's going to be customers.tsx. Let's make that here. And let's define the class name for this. So it's going to be class name, medium, col span of 2, and then margin top of 12. And then for the title, it's going to be class name, text center, text slate 700, padding top of 10, text 4XL, so it's large, and then font semi bold, and then font mono. Cool. And let's call this trusted by thousands of restaurants. Okay, now let's add the restaurants below. So it's going to be class name with full, flex, justify center, so we want them all centered, gap 2, and on large it's going to be gap of 12, so they're more spread apart, and then margin top of 6. So let's add a next image, and fix that. And for the source, it's gonna be, I copied in more pictures, so it's gonna be logo 1 from public logo 1 PNG, so you can just put your images there as well. And mine's actually called WebB. So logo 1. And then the alt text is gonna be logo 1. Width for this is gonna be I think 150 is good width. Then height is also going to be 150. And for the class name, we're going to do object contain and then rounded large. I got to put that into the main page. So let's put our customers component right here. Cool, so we got our first logo in. And let's go back in and add the rest of the logos. So we can copy and paste this. And I did 4 images. You can do as many as you want. So I'm importing these from the public folder as well. And I'm just going to change the logo too. And sweet, so now we can see our customers and how it looks good on mobile as well. The gap gets smaller. Now let's jump back into VS Code and work on the pricing section. So I'm going to make a new component. So new file, pricing.tsx. Let's make that here. And let's start off defining the class name. And we want padding Y of 24, so we want a lot of padding on the top and bottom. And then we also want a title for this, and we'll call it class name, text, center, text 4XL, so pretty big. Font mono, padding Y of 4, and we'll call it pricing. And now let's work on the pricing component. So this is going to be class name flex, flex call, XL, flex, row, justify, center, gap, 6. And that's going to do our layout for all of our components. So now we can actually make the component itself. So class name, grid, place, content center, and there we go. So now it's centered. And here we go, we're gonna do class name H. We want height to be 400 pixels. And we want the width to be 400 pixels as well. And the border to be 2, so we want a border around it, and then rounded large, and the border to be blue, 600, and the padding to be 4. And we also have a gradient, so we'll do it from blue 100 to blue 400. And we didn't add it in yet, so let's put that below customers. And now we can see where the pricing section is going to go. So let's jump back into VS Code and start working on it. So let's go to pricing, and let's make another component. So this is going to be a paragraph, and we're going to do the title as basic. Now set the class name as text 3XL, font bold, and then we're also going to have a span in here, and this is going to be a different color text. So it's going to be $39 per month. So it's just like that for now. And now we go into class name, and then text slate 100, font mono, and there we go. And let's add another P now, and this is gonna be class name margin top 2, text slate 700, font mono, and we're gonna call this our basic plan with our simplest features. And I accidentally put the P in there, so we're gonna move this P tag outside the other P tag. So I'll copy that and paste it there. Cool. And now we're gonna have an unordered list. So I'll just tab over, and we can then make changes to the unordered list. So let's go in here with class name, and this is gonna be list. Wait, let's see what it looks like now without it. So it doesn't have the bullet points. So let's go back into here and then do class name, list, descending, list, inside, margin top 2. So now we have bullet points for the features. And cool, I'm gonna go back and edit the features later, but now let's add a button. And this is gonna be get started. And that's imported from Shadcn UI. So now let's position this. So let's go class name, margin top 36, width full, and there we go. Now let's jump back into VS Code and continue. So let's change these features. So we can call this mobile ordering as one of the features. And this one could be QR code scanning. And for the third feature, it can be customer menu templates. And then let's add one more feature just to differentiate between the different pricing plans. So this is going to be 100 customers per month. And cool, now we have a pricing section with features. So now let's copy this and paste another one. So we're gonna have 2 more features or 2 more pricing plans. And we can change the text for that. So for the second one, we're gonna call this the classic plan. And we can just say our classic plan has even more customers. And we can change has more customers. And this can be our pro plan. And our pro plan has the most customers. And we can change the prices. So that could be $79. This can be $179. Cool, so now there's a little difference. We can change classic plan. That can just be classic. Cool. And let's change the amount of customers. So cool. As you can see here, it's mobile responsive. So they go on a line when it's on a mobile, and then on a wider screen, it's horizontal. And finally, let's build the footer component. So I'll go new component, footer.tsx, and we'll make that here. And we're gonna use a footer tag. And for the class name, we'll do colspan 1, medium colspan 2, and then height 12, width full, flex, justify center, gap 2, item center, P12, margin top 12. And then in here we'll have the footer items. So we'll do font mono, text slate, 600, and this is going to be settings. Then this one's going to be the same, so class name, font mono, text slate, 600, and we can call this policy, and then another one, class name, font mono, text slate 600, and we'll just call this one couriers. And cool, that should work now. We'll add that into our page. And let's see how it looks. Cool, so we have a basic landing page finished.